Welcome back, everyone, to Random's Thoughts. Coming to you today with another gameplay video, this time with Keeper, tweaked a little bit for the new environment, the new world, the new patch, and the new woodland season. So let's jump in. And 1040 patch, and there were a lot of changes in that patch that I think are going to impact the game in a significant way. But the woodland season itself presents a number of different challenges that you have to accommodate for when you're deck building. Now, this Keeper deck is very much just a good stuff deck. There's a lot of things in here that are just, yeah, that card's pretty strong. We're going to play it. So the difference with this particular Keeper build is that I feel it relies heavily on its blood abilities, and to be honest, there are a lot of refinements that could happen to this list. It's performed pretty well up till now. It started off on a pretty hot streak, then was going win-loss, win-loss, win-loss for a little while in the diamond rank, but now we're on the cusp of going into striker. Probably going to finish it out on stream with this particular build, but I wanted to put this together with some of the games from the previous stream about how we were doing with it. Few things of note, because a lot of this stands out as kind of obvious. The ones that may not be as obvious are Blood Scent Wolves, because I just really like this card. I think that this deck, because it's so reliant on its individual blood abilities, it's important to get blood generation when you can. Almost to the point that I'm willing to include Pagan Harvest. We do have a few beasts in the deck, the aforementioned wolves, the owls, and the vipers here. You could, of course, increase that count. Maybe it's worth it, maybe it's not, but Pagan Harvest is a consideration because your A3 is super powerful. It's an unconditional removal. Granted, there are some other after effects, but you just say, yep, if that guy's targetable, they're dead, which is pretty important. And notably, you can target your own stuff if you need to, just to push some damage. Just throwing that out there. Now, one of the other things I want to point out here is Rise of the Undead. Rise of the Undead is not really fantastic. It's certainly worse than I initially thought, but I think it is significantly better than people give it credit for. Sure, it's random, and you may see in one of these games, we've hit a few really bad Rise of the Undeads. We've hit ones where it's 1-drop, 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 2-drop, and then Skeletal Priestess, where it sort of locks us out of our own blood abilities, because you're going to wipe out the rest of the Rise. It gets a little awkward. Now, that being said, Rise is still pretty strong as a board fill, which is really the purpose of this. So anytime that you can apply pressure, which we actually did in a fair amount of games, you know, you open with a Malice Fiend, you follow it up with an Owl, and then even a Jacko, or even a Blood Scent Wolf, you just put pressure on your opponent, and then they finally manage to wrestle board control, and you follow up with a Trample Herd or a Rise, and all of a sudden they're right on the back foot again. Realistically, I think what you want to do with this deck is try and shift it to be a more aggressive mid-rangey build. I don't think you're going to go over the top with control, although it's certainly possible. You could lean farther into the control elements, maybe remove the Malice Fiends, although I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. Possibly remove the Vipers and go heavier late game. Rely really on Death Harvest to help you control the board, and then play bombs towards the end. I think it might be worth looking into leaning more to the early game, so that way you can pressure your opponent and keep moving. To that end, honestly, Grizzly Voidcaller has been kind of a disappointment because our blood count has been so tight. It's been very difficult to imbue it. I might consider going down a copy, but there are some games where you just take over because you stole a Nemean Lion or you dupe your own Doom Knights. There are some crazy things that can happen. Now, last thing I want to point out is the updated Mark for Death. Really, this got thrown in because I just wanted to try it out, and honestly, it's been performing pretty well. It either is an early game removal for something cheap and effectively reducing all the damage, therefore it may as well be a full removal card, or you play a late game and you can actually deal with one of their big things if for some reason you didn't manage your blood correctly and you can't A3 it, or you don't want to for some reason. It is pretty cool. I'm looking forward to trying out more Mark for Death, but I'm going to hand you over to some gameplay from a recent stream. If you want to check out Runestrike Live, definitely take a look down below. You can check me out at RTChompGG over on Twitch. But as always, everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And Black Lives Matter. Sounds like you're tempting fate, Doc. Alright, so game one with this bizarre keeper build that's just kind of a hodgepodge of nonsense. There's really no coherent theme to it other than good stuff pile, which I'm not usually a fan of. We're up against the now reworked Brienne with the new A3. I mean, this is about as good of an opener as we could ask for. This is pretty aggressive. Which actually, was there anything other than Nether Pixie that helps Crowe aggro? So that we could try and make A3 a thing? I don't believe so, but I have to go back and look at the patch notes. So, -1, you'll still trade. So we could invest 2 blood to kill this. I don't really want to. You could just kill it, which I think is what we're going to do. We have an aggressive start. And we have the owl supplementing our hand here, so I think we're going to keep on pressuring. Okay, you got me. Unfortunately, we've had this Torment sitting in our hand for a while, but we are at an advantage in the sense that, well, we're beating the crap out of our opponent, so we have some breathing room. But yeah, I do want to try Shadow Nature aggro at some point. So that's 3, 4, 5. So this is going to be protected, so it's not going to take any damage from the Twister. So I think we just play this. Unfortunately, we don't push a whole lot of damage, but, you know, either to them or to this, but that's okay. Our opponent really hasn't done a whole hell of a lot outside of this, so, you know, not too big of a deal. So we'll Twister away their board, and we're still going to be in a really good position. Because we can still just do this. We didn't actually... That was a waste of blood. That was pointless, because I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, well, it'll get it on their turn, but duh, it has Protector. Whoops. That's a Nemean Lion. What do we do about that? If we had that blood back, we could just kill it, but, you know, mistakes were made. Instead, I think I like your Nemean Lion enough to take it. And we're going to mark the lion for death. We are a little susceptible here to getting blown out by a variety of different things. It's late enough in the game that Meteor Storm is online. They could just A1 things and start clearing out stuff. Like here kills this. Here doesn't do anything because of the lion. Here, well, they would do it here. Kill the owl if they want. The owl's been online so many turns that we're just burying them in card advantage. Got yourself an Executioner there, friend. I am not a fan of this card. You got him. What do we do here? I think we're just gonna do this and go face, to be honest. Like, they're at 18 now. If they manage to clear the board, we'll follow the Rise of the Undead. I thought this was Scorpion Charmer for a second. I was about to scream. I was about to be very upset. We actually could have killed them. Whatever. GG. Alright, so 1-0 with this so far. Let's see if we can keep it rolling. We'll keep the Krampus. We only need the 1/4 drop, and we drew into the Malice Fiend, so that's good. They're a striker opponent. Anybody watching this on YouTube later, I'm updating the spreadsheet so I can track all this stuff. Keeper has some very strong abilities, very fun, and makes use of great nature cards. He definitely can. He definitely can. I don't know if he's in a spectacular position at the moment, but that's why we're trying it out. It's been a while since I played Keeper. It's been a fair amount of time. So I think we Krampus and just kill this. This was intended to be more of a control deck, but it's been playing very aggressively. Get a little chop action going. So is our opponent going to A1? There it is. You knew it was coming. It was just a matter of time. We'll go Owl and this. So like I said, this was envisioned as a control deck, or mid-rangey control. And the last game, we just came out of the gates screaming and just annihilated our opponent. And we're working out in a similar fashion now. And we're just going to do this. So if they have Bylight's Grace, or that also is not great for us. I was going to say, there's a few different things they could do that are bad. We'll get Torment online. I'm tempted to kill this, but I think we're going to wait. We possibly should have just played the Doom Knight, and now that I'm thinking about it, playing the Torment was probably a mistake, because we're just hemorrhaging board position. So now we kind of have to deal with this. Double Phoenix is really bad. That's just way too much of a clock, I think. It's interesting that our opponent hasn't really bothered trying to set up enchantments. That seems weird, but it's a thing you can do. We're going to elect to burn the blood here. So this is risky for this reason. If they play something big that's outside of Feast or Famine range, it's going to be problematic. Such as that. That's a problem. Because we don't have the blood immediately to blow it up. But we will shortly. We do have multiple Blood Scent Wolves. Which is one of my favorite cards in the game. I wonder if this is ever going to be slated for a buff, because it feels like, given the current power level of the game, that this seems underpowered. But at the same time, I don't know. So we could just blow him up. Or we can mark for death. I think we played both of our... Malice Fiends, so... This is a little risky because we're getting tagged for a lot. Oh boy. I don't know what order this goes off in. Okay, so he does get the Suffer. We kind of have to kill him now. We weren't... Well, I guess we're okay now that we have Force Mutiny. If they play another big thing, we mutiny it, and then we should win the damage race. The Mermaid was your favorite? I have a lot of favorites. I have trouble keeping a Keeper deck that isn't Keeper Lock. Fair. I still have Fun Police built. So if we mutiny here... It's not going to do much, but it, like, buys us a turn? Alternatively, we kill this and this. How can they kill us? I don't think they can. We're just playing this as a body. The pumpkin gets him. GG. GG. Ah, the doctor. All right, we'll keep this. We are going first. I wanted to build Ramses too this season, or mess around with Ramses, because people were, we'll say they were talking down on Ramses. I'll explain the other thought after the game. So we have another relatively strong opener. You know, we lead off with Owl. We're going to curve into this. Get a little pumpkin action going. I still don't think Jacko needed to be nerfed, but... I think we're going to do this. It could soak multiple hits from A2. I imagine there's an A2 this turn, unless Doc has some other way to clear the board, because this is a pretty big clock. I don't want to overextend too much, that's why I elected not to play the Krampus. Ah, Alchemist. Do we remove said Alchemist? I'm not going to invest blood in this. I imagine Doc is... Yep. I figured A3 was coming. There was no need to. Now, I invested the wolf anyway because I really just wanted the blood. And it kind of ensures that he's going to use it, I guess. I'm really just kind of justifying it to myself. Let's be real. Alright, so now comes the follow-up. We get Krampus, we get a Malice Fiend. We push. There's a Pumpkin Bomb. I think we got three Pumpkin Bombs? This may be overly aggressive. That may be overly aggressive, but I'm willing to take the chance to clutter Doc's hand and prevent him from actually pushing any threats. Did I ever tell you how much I love Doom Knight? Speaking of favorite card, okay, so time out. Tell me this doesn't look like an Elden Ring boss or something. It absolutely looks like an Elden Ring boss. Alright, here we go. Of course it hits the other Doom Knight! Come on! Give me a break. Give me a break. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Good job, game. Oh my god. So, how is this worded? Is it when you summon? How do I see the enchantment? Minion summoned here. Does Resurrect summon? Is resummoned. Okay. I'm trying to figure out if I A1 what happens. We're going to play this aggressively. This could be a mistake. There are a lot of ways that this could go south very fast. Decimate would be one of them. Decimate is in fact bad. That was awful. Oh my god, that is awful. Oh my god, that was so bad. I think that's the first time I've cast March of the Undead, too. And that one was not worth it. Haha, multiple pumpkin bombs. We're still not in good shape. We're still in really bad shape. Oh my god, that Flame Walker is so good. That Flame Walker was so good. So Doc could still have Horus, which would make me sad about playing the main, but here's the other Phoenix. We gotta do 7 this turn somehow. Which we can, right? Why did I do that? Whoops. I mean, it doesn't matter because of the suffer, but like... I was like, oh, we'll just A1 it. Oh yeah, we can't do that. We shouldn't do that. We should just feast or famine. Or this, or whatever. It doesn't matter. This. We had so many ways, and I chose the one that could have cost us the game. GG. We're on the play again. So one drawback about the information we're getting so far about this deck is that we have been on the play a lot. We're gonna play Jacko anyway. Try and push them into spending A1. It felt consistent to me when played against me. It feels horrible when I play it. People were saying it's inconsistent, but I don't know. I mean, it relies on you must obviously draw the, you have to draw the Void Dragon, like step 1. You cannot win without finding Void Dragon. We're doing this to be aggressive. I don't know if this is a good idea. Then you probably have to find this guy. We're copying this guy because I want more cards. I don't know if that's really worth it, but... Is there a way to tutor Dragon? Not that I can think of, but... I don't know. We're not ahead by that much life. And honestly, the blood investment that we had to kill the other one of these was probably a waste. That's a Gaulish Chief. What? What? It's a hard cast Gaulish Chief. That's a thing you can play. We'll just gain a bunch of life. This card is awesome. Harvest Souls. It's not really that Gaulish, he just wants a pair of pants. He does require some pants. I would agree with that statement. We'll probably just have to A3 this, I think. Oh, that's bad. That is, as we say in the business, bad. So this is going to demand some removal for the owl, because otherwise the owl will help us run away with this game. We do have a sizable life lead, but they are chaos. There's a lot of mean things they can do. You took backstab. Wow. That's not good for us. This costs like 7, right? You have 4 blood. That's a lot. I forgot you don't get to choose the lane, or I would not have played it. Fascinating. Yeah, I wouldn't have played that card if I really thought that you get to choose the lane. Womp womp. Balder to get another pick. I was considering that. And I would have done that in all honesty. I went with this to try and pressure our opponent and help deal with this, but womp womp. I mean, this turn isn't bad, but we don't have it 100% locked up. They still have a few more turns. That was very weird how that played out. Get a little womp womp going. We should have copied the lion first. Whoops. I'm kind of no longer paying attention, as you may or may not be able to tell. Once Torment goes on my opponent, I sometimes just mentally check out. It's just like, alright, the clock is on. Stop me. I just played 3 conditionings. Stop me. You took Harvest Souls too? What? Get out of here. This is what I was talking about, where our opponent's not out of the game, because they just gained a bunch of life. Lol. It's kind of funny. That's not quite as funny. I mean, we should get them here, but they made us work way harder than we really wanted to. GG. GG! Alright, we're up against the mirror, I guess. We're on the play. Now, notably, we went second in 1, 2, 3 out of our 4 losses. We went second. 3 out of our 4 losses, we went second. So I wonder if the deck is just really bad on the draw. Which, as I mentioned earlier in the night, I think is something that Runestrike has an issue with. Just gonna kill that. I think Runestrike has an issue with, with being on the draw versus being on the play. It seems like it's such an enormous advantage to go first in basically everything. All the time. I do like the new Marked for Death. It seems pretty useful. We're just going to kill that thing and keep moving. Our opponent, this thing has been on the board since turn 3. They're going to hit like 9 pumpkins in a row. Not really 9, but, you know, a lot. That's a little unfortunate. They're at 30, though. We're just going to push damage. I mean, we have Torment on them. We're going to push damage. I'm not concerned. Hey, we get the board fill with this. Like, this is decent. I know people hate Charon off of this thing, but, like, this is fine. That's not so fine, but... I mean... GG. Okay, so we're up against another Dawn player. Haven't seen Dawn outside of what we were attempting early on. We're going to keep the Wolf because I think we're going to need the removal. It might have been better to try and mulligan for Owl in order to get our engine going. But we're on the play. Just updating the spreadsheet real quick. Dawn, we're in Diamond, they're in Diamond. Let's see. Clearly not playing the Void Caller. So, if you were to ask me before this game started, who do I think is favored, I would say Dawn, and the reason for that is we don't have a great many ways to deal with a lot of things Dawn presents. So they're going to get extra blood out of this, and, well, I take it back. I think we do this right now. If they can get A3 online with a decent board, we're going to have difficulty dealing with it. We have single target removal, we have some other answers, but we don't have an enormous amount of ways to deal with a bunch of medium-sized things in this build. We can obviously A3, but depending on the board layout, A3ing something could be very dangerous for us. We're just not letting that get online. I didn't consider this when I was building Dawn earlier tonight. Maybe at 4, like, I don't really like Raptor. I run it in Emrys because you can protect it. But for example, I don't know that I would have played Raptor on 4. Maybe you just wait till 5 and then buff it immediately. So your opponent's less likely to have a way to deal with it. I mean, we killed it out of hand, so maybe they said, oh, well, if I wait, they're going to be able to A3 it anyway, so what's the point? Which is probably true. This should probably be in our list, though. This seems good. Alright, chat. Place your bets. Does Doom Knight get punched? Place your bets. Survey says... Every time! Every time! We've had Doom Knights corrupted like 10 times tonight. Every time he gets it, or other things been corrupted, and every time they punch Doom Knight. This guy has no friends. 0 friends. Really? I did not anticipate the Eclipse there. I mean, I guess it's fine. But that seems like a bold move, Cotton. This is interesting in a Dawn list. It's very interesting. So here's the question, opponent. You clearly have Bylight's Grace, or maybe you don't. Maybe you're just going to wait one more turn. But are you going to Eclipse and wipe our board, or are you going to buff yours? Oh, this is kind of cool. I like this idea. Ah, that's hilarious. I have bad news for you. Oh, that's rough. That's a rough turn. That is a rough turn. Alright, the other things I thought were cool. Raving Sycophant. No, no, no. No bueno. Alright, there's the obvious thing. But like, no, don't play Raving Sycophant. I think it's awful. Oh my god. So it must go right to left. It must go right to left. Because we were talking about this earlier when we hit a Revenant King off of it, and it ended up in this spot, which is interesting because that's kind of a remnant of the old version. The way the game used to play. Because it used to attack right to left instead of left to right. We're just chump blocking here. Between our attacks and the suffer, we just have to lean on our opponent. I don't expect they can do much else. Full mutiny. Get him? I mean, they're going to die to the suffer, but just in case. Just in case. Like I said, I do like some of the things, like the Infernal Phantom. Kind of cute. Oh, that could have been bad. The Nightshade. Even the +10/+10 Divine Intervention thing is not a bad idea. Keeping the Grizzly might not have been bad. Just because there's a lot of things that we probably want to copy. But we do have an owl, so we're off to a good start. We will probably preserve our owl. Oh yeah, that's the curve we want to see. Turn 1, Malice Fiend, into turn 2, Owl, into turn 3, Jacko. Seems good. We've gotten that opener a lot tonight. We've gotten that opener a lot. It's a little awkward putting this here. But we're doing that because I don't want to have to play Krampus there. Or anything else. I mean, if the Tomb Viper dies, at least we get something out of the berry. That's a nightmare. That is, in fact, a nightmare. We're just getting that thing off the board. I don't know if it's worth doing that, honestly. Again, we're getting in this cycle where we're expending a lot of A1s when I'd really rather bank for A3s, but I didn't want to let that thing spin out of control. And this turn, regardless of what they play, it's presumably not going to be threatening enough that we are going to feel compelled to Twister. So we'll have the opportunity to play Torment, which is kind of why I went for that line in order to try and set it up tempo-wise. You really have no plays? Because you didn't need to play this. You didn't have to play that. Really, instead of Krampus... So they have a beast and a beast. We know they have multiple beasts. They also have a pumpkin bomb. Kapow. Why do people play this card? The card is just so bad. We'll just Twister this. Continue pressuring. I have a hard time envisioning our opponent coming back. Is there some combo in Crowe that makes this valuable? Oh wait, no, they probably got this off something. It had a reduced cost. Why did you have a reduced cost? Oh, they got it off an island turtle. Okay, that makes more sense. I thought they were main decking this for a second. Like, that card's not good. Don't do that. Don't do that. We're just gonna keep pressuring. I guess if we had to ask, that's the guy to punch. Well, really, we wanted him to hit this instead. We would rather have him hit the Grizzly Voidcaller, I think, just so we had a bigger threat on the board. But this is fine. Because if they try to get cute and, like, pop this, we'll just, Mastodon Herd. We're so far ahead at this stage that I'm not sure what they can do. This feels like it's beasts in general. But then again, they could just be playing things like the Amazons for the purpose of card advantage. This has stealth. Okay. I was debating copying this, but I think this is fine. I mean, they're at 13. I don't know that it really matters. Thanks to our explosive draws tonight, like, I have to wonder, is the deck actually that good, or were we just getting very fortunate with our openers? Because we hit a lot of Malice Fiend into Owl into Jacko. I'm going to go with not good, Atona. I don't see any way in which that ends well. But GG, we end well on this game. GG. I don't think this is the same person. I don't think this is the same person we played earlier. But we have our desired opener. Now we just got to top deck the Jacko. Corpse Demon. Womp wah. I think that's fine. We're gonna lose the Owl anyway, obviously. We're not losing any cards this way. I don't think we're really interested in killing this thing, are we? I think we just wait. I don't really see a purpose to trying to go for this. That's obnoxious. That feels like a lot of cards invested, though, by our opponent. It was Cull and Viper and the Corpse Demon in order to kill, like, an owl, essentially, because they would have killed the Malice Fiend anyway. And then, so an owl, and I don't know. That seems weird and not worth it to me. Jacko, however, seems to be worth it. I was about to say, how the hell did you get an Island Turtle? And then I noticed the Warhorn's Blessing. That's a way you can get Island Turtle. I want to get Doom Knight online, but I think we're better off with this. And again, we could have pushed damage by backstabbing this, but I'd rather hold on to it. So you'll live. You're a rogue spirit, so you won't live. I don't think there's any advantage to doing some of this other stuff, so we're just going to get in there. I guess we could have killed the demon ahead of time so we maintain our Malice Fiend. I'm not too worried about this. We can just do this. I don't want to leave them with anything on the board so that way they can A3. They are getting to the A3 anyway, but... There's an argument to wait until after they board clear to do this. But we're pushing a bunch of damage. We have a pretty big life lead. That way the Doom Knight doesn't punch face. That's a Zephyr Knight. You got me. That's an Anubis. I must admit I did not see that one coming. GG, we got him. For now, that's going to do it for tonight. So as always, everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And Black Lives Matter.